Okay, are you set? I have to start with this little statement that begins every interview. Sorry. Are you ready? This is an oral history interview with two businesswomen of Trinidad, Colorado. They are Sam Quintana, owner of Red Wing Electric, and Shantell Quintana, owner of the Double D restaurant in Trinidad. This interview was done on August 27th, 2018 at the Southern Colorado Coal Miners Museum. It is part of a project to document, preserve, and share the experiences and contributions of Hispanics and Latinos in Trinidad and Las Animas County, organized by the Southern Colorado Coal Miners Museum and the Latino History Project based at the University of Colorado Boulder. The people asking the questions in this interview are Yolanda Romero of Trinidad and Marjorie McIntosh of Boulder. The videographer is Tori Taran, a recent graduate of CU Boulder. Yolanda will start us off.
Yes, hi, good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Can I actually say something really quick? Sorry. When you guys answer, can you talk to them? You don't have to look at the camera.
All right. Okay, are we back in action?
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, ladies. Thank you for being here this morning. We know you're very busy, but thank you for your time today. What I would like to begin asking is, where and when were you born? Either lady.
Denver, Colorado, in August 4th, 1973.
Thank you.
I was born in Denver, Colorado, September 21st, 1971.
Thank you. When and why did your family or earlier members come to Trinidad or Las Animas County, and where did they come from?
My grandma and my great-grandma were all original
Natives.
community natives here. My grandma did leave for a while, and then with my mom, and then my mom came back when she got old enough to move on her own and decided to make this our home again.
Sam?
Same history. We decided to relocate here. My mother did, just because of the clean air and clean water. Because we were in Denver, and she figured a small town was a better place to raise children.
I'm going to interrupt for just a minute. Do you know where your families came from before they reached Trinidad?
Romania.
Romania, uh-huh.
Thank you. Okay, now here's your next question. What was your education and where did you get it?
I just went to the high school here, graduated in 1991, and then Trinidad State, and got to an Associates of Applied Science and an Associates. So an AA and an AAS.
Thank you.
Okay, and I graduated from Trinidad High School in 1990. Then I went to the University of Denver, received a degree, a Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Science with emphasis in engineering. And also I graduated from the University of Phoenix with a Master's in Business Administration.
Thank you, ladies.
Oh, and you have electrical.
Background as well.
Oh, and I have a Master's in Electrical in both Colorado and New Mexico.
Shantell, did you have formal education in how to run a restaurant, or did you pick that up along the way?
No, I had to pick it up really quick along the way.
And so how did you get started, the kinds of work that you're doing? Or maybe you did other work first? What's your work history here?
I worked, let me see, during high school at the courthouse in the planning and land use office. And then when I started college, I started in the payroll office at the college and stood there. And even after I graduated, I stood on there another year until I moved to Denver to have twins. And then after my twins were born, I moved back here.
And how did you get started in the restaurant business?
An investment.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of everything happened so quick. Just kind of it was an investment.
Mm-hmm. How long have you had it now?
We've owned it 5 years and operated 3 years.
Okay. Because it's quite famous. I saw it on a video about Trinidad and things. So how's that felt to be a woman restaurant owner?
It's challenging. Restaurants are hard to work in. It's a lot different than the electrical field that I'm used to. Because I'm a residential wireman, 24 years in the electrical field. So a restaurant's a lot different. I like it. I like meeting the people, just the variety, the travelers that come through and the questions they ask, and just letting them know what Trinidad's about. 'Cause that's what they want to know.
How many employees does your restaurant have?
Right now we're at 15, which and that's due to low staffing issues. It's hard to find staff in here in Trinidad. It's very hard.
That there just aren't enough people looking for work, or that they don't have the skills you need, or what is it?
Both.
And what does a typical workday look like for you? When are you on the job? When are you home?
I start about, the restaurant opens at 7, they get there at 6:30. I usually don't get there until about 8 most days, and I'm there till we close at 9, then we clean, so I'm there till about 11 at night.
So this is 7 and 8 a.m. we're talking about.
Yes, till 9 and 11 at night,
Every day?
every day. Well, now we're closed Tuesday and Wednesday. This last year, we decided to take 2 days a week off. It was getting hard.
Boy, I bet. Gosh. Okay, well, that's a good start from Shantell. Let's hear about the electric business.
The electric business, we are industry driven, so as you know, for a while that we did a lot of mining. We did the surface electrical at the mine, and then when the mine closed, then we did gas field for quite a while. We had up to 99 employees. We had 99 employees at one particular time for maybe a 3 to 5 year period, and then when that slowed down, then we just went and we started doing commercial and highway. We actually did the new LED infrastructure on the highway. This is one of the longest bridges in the whole state of Colorado, so we were pioneering in the LED industry at the time.
Which bridge was that?
The one that comes all the way from
The I-25 corridor that goes,
through Trinidad is a bridge. The whole highway through Trinidad is a bridge. So we worked on that project. We worked on both hotels at the same time. We did the new Holiday Inn and also the La Quinta. So we just go with the flow and do whatever kind of work is available. So we do residential, commercial, industrial, generators. A lot of people are moving into the counties, and there's such a long wait to get power. They usually put generators or they put solar. So our industry is very educational driven. So we just keep educating ourselves on we look at the new stuff that's going to impact us, and we go and we educate ourselves a little bit on that and just do it.
And is it very seasonal or year by year, or do you have a pretty steady business over time?
It's pretty steady. The way that we usually do it is we cover like all our emergency calls that come in first. Then we have our service, and then we have our bid work. So we're busy all year long, fortunately. A lot of things too is we're in a rural area, so we have to learn how to do it all.
But Shantell mentioned there's this question of people moving in, or are they moving out? How does that affect your businesses?
It affects us in the fact that they're moving in. They want us to do like safety inspections in their homes before they move in. Tell them, if their electrical is up to today's code, and our code cycle changes every 3 years. So we're always getting the education. We're always doing our continuing education and stuff like that, so we could be up with the times. Because we just go in, we check their homes, we tell them if they need new services or if they need to upgrade things for safety purposes. And then, so that's everybody that's moving in the area. People that are here, we do our honey-do list. People call us and say we need a ceiling fan installed, we need to we're upgrading our kitchens and bathrooms, usually what everybody remodels in their houses. So we bring all that up to code.
the more technology changes, the more the electrical change.
And we do a lot of like retrofit. Right now we're doing a LED retrofit for the county, and they'll get a rebate from San Isabel on that. So that's a good thing for them.
A rebate from whom?
San Isabel Electric Association.
Okay, so that's a power supplier.
That's a power.
For this whole region?
Yes, one for the county.
For the county. So they buy their power from there?
Yes.
Good. Well, let's talk a little bit about your families now. Who do you have at home, and how do you manage home versus job?
Well, Samantha's my sister, my older sister. Older.
See?
Now we're 2 years apart. We did have an older sister, 2 years older than her, passed away. So it's made us really close. My mom's raised us on her own. So, and then I had my twins. They are 20 years old now.
Wow.
And so it's been my sister, me, my twins, and my mom. And my mom's always worked in the coal mine. She worked for the sheriff's department. So when the opportunity came up to be an electrician, it was just like, okay, it's a man's world, but if my mom could do it, so can we.
You said she was a coal miner. Was that common?
Yeah, kind of, not
Not for
really
women.
for our community. I guess it was a little more common, but generally no.
Was she one of the first ones? Or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, what about-
It's scary having your mom work in a coal mine underground, and her name that they knew her by was Sister Sledge, because all coal miners have the nickname, because she had a sledgehammer and she worked in the long wall, which is the deepest part of the mine that they break the wall to start the digging process to begin with. So she worked in a dangerous section.
Sounds as though you come from a family of strong women.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
What about your family?
My family involves Shantell and her twins and my mom. So we're really close. That's the good thing about having a Hispanic heritage is you grow up and you're close to each other. And I don't think you ever leave.
Really?
You leave to get an education and you come back home.
Something that we haven't talked about with anybody else yet is the question of religion. So, is religion important in your lives? Are you sort of regular churchgoers? Is this something that's important to you?
I think it is. I think passing on the values that a religion could give to, the young ones, to try to keep them on the straight and narrow, on a good path. I think religion is important.
Do you go to church pretty regularly? Or?
Yes, I do.
Which church do you go to?
Trinidad Catholic.
Is that St.
Holy Trinity.
Holy Trinity? That's it. Okay, right. Thank you.
Yes, I think, in my opinion, religion is very important. It's a basis of what we know and where we come from. I am very strong in religion.
Do you think the next generation is too? I mean, are your twins? do they-
My twins are. We've instilled it in them since they were babies. But I notice in the schools, a lot of kids are not. They haven't been made to go. It hasn't been enforced and instilled in them. So you don't see very many kids in church anymore.
No. What about questions like of gender? In your parish, are women pretty active, or is it still mainly men?
I feel women are more active than men are.
Yeah.
There is more women involved, and I think the roles have changed in our community. Women are the business owners, the bread makers, the baby bearers, they do it all.
Yeah.
And men kind of,
We've seen that shift in southern Colorado a lot, where like even the grandparents are raising the children and stuff like that, and the men are the ones staying home with the children. The women are out working.
Is that because there's more jobs for women? Or?
I think just women have been passed along with other strong women and said, you go make your way in the world and do what you need to do to survive and take care of your family. So I think women have stepped up at 90 million%.
Do you think that there's any hesitation about making Hispanics or Latinos full members of the parish, or do you have any Spanish-speaking priests, or how does that work within this community?
A lot of our priests have either that we grew up with in the parish, because we had several different churches we could visit. We had Mount Carmel, we had St. Joseph, Holy Trinity, and I think the parish numbers have went down over the years, so now everybody goes to just the Holy Trinity Catholic Church right now. What I've particularly seen is that as the members have dwindled, so the participation has dwindled. kind of thing.
Do you have Spanish-speaking priests here?
A lot of them that were multilingual that I know of have passed away.
There's not any that I know of right now.
Do you belong to any community organizations? Or are you pretty busy, are your hands pretty full with your...
We're pretty busy right now. In the past, we've been involved with the Los Animas County Chamber Ambassadors. Shantell sat on the Hispanic Chamber.
The Planning Commission.
I've sat on the Planning Commission for 8 years.
Mhm.
What else?
Kind of whatever was thrown our way.
Yeah, we just volunteer for whatever needs to happen at the time, so.
And is it fairly common that Latinas would be on the commissions and things?
Well, with Yolanda,
On the Hispanic Chamber, yes.
she makes sure that, you get involved with the community, and she held a lot of events throughout the years, and, she's a great inspiration to everyone, so.
But like, say on the city or the county boards, those commissions?
No.
No, I don't recall any Hispanics on there.
Just recently, Jenny,
Like Jenny's mayor and
just Jenny and maybe Liz,
Miss
but-
Torres, yeah.
but generally no.
We've run throughout time I ran for school board once and twice and lost, the first time and then the second time by like 13 votes, but nevertheless, it didn't keep me from running. But yeah, and then I tried something at city council level when we lived on First Street. Now we live in the county, so, but yeah, try, at least, but sometimes circumstances make it work, You just kind of step back and say, maybe this isn't the right time.
What fraction roughly of the population in Trinidad is Latino? I mean, just ballpark.
A little over half, I think.
I think half.
But
Yeah.
they don't necessarily turn out and vote for other Latinos running for local office or something? Or...
I don't necessarily know who turns out to vote, because you would think, like, because you run on either a Democratic ticket or a Republican ticket still, but generally you have somebody that's an incumbent that, they know somebody.
Yeah.
I don't think too many Hispanics actually go out and vote, to be honest.
Why is that?
I don't know, our parents fought for us to vote, so we go out and vote. I know that, and, we instilled it in our twins. I wish that they would do something more in the schools to, get them involved in, like, even mock voting before they're able to vote. But I know that women couldn't vote, and then finally everybody could vote. I mean, it's been years. I mean, there's been bloodshed over it. So, I mean, I exercise my right to vote. To be honest.
My opinion, what I've seen, it's more an Italian-run town, and that's who makes the decisions in our town. The Spanish have tried, the Hispanics have tried, but it's never panned out.
So a person's kind of ethnic background still makes a difference, you think?
Yes, it does. Here it does.
It would make a difference, yeah. And my opinion is that if elections were held totally honestly, the way they should, might be a different story. Sometimes that's real discouraging and has been for candidates that spend their money, to advertise, to run and then lose, only to lose. So, it depends as far as I'm concerned, how the machine is run and who takes care of that machine. So.
Do you mean physically the voting machine, or do you mean the Democratic
No,
Party
the voting machine. I've always thought that there were candidates that were potential winners that didn't win.
Well, we can talk more about that this afternoon.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's an important point.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you have some questions?
I do.
too?
I do have another question here. Do you think there was discrimination? Oh, no, right here. I'm sorry, I'm going ahead too much. How do you think Trinidad has changed over time?
You want me to take it? I'll take it. Trinidad's changed over time in that we've seen growth, we've seen recession, we've seen growth again, and we've seen recession again. So right now we're on a little growth spurt. They're starting to do a lot more community involved things like the Space to Create next door. They're starting to do that, so that's going to be really great for our town. It's going to help it to expand a little bit. It's going to get some of our empty buildings, I think, right now occupied, and bring maybe some different people into the area to try to help grow some new businesses, because small business is what makes a difference.
Could you tell us a little more about those earlier growths and
Oh, the growths and the recessions. It's come with the industry. I mean, I think that Trinidad's either relied on one industry or another, and as it comes and it goes, sort of like the gas industry, the mining industry, and now we're like in the marijuana industry. I think that's a reason why a lot of people too, we can't get good people to take jobs. I mean, trades are dying. They're not teaching them in our schools any longer. I mean, and that's important because a lot of our kids, especially our Hispanic kids, aren't able to afford college. You know, they need the trades. They need building trades. They need, you know, mechanics. They need electrical. I mean, all of the trades that I grew up with when I was going to school are all gone. You know, and it's so important. In the next 10 years, I mean, in the electrical field, we're not going to have anybody. We're not going to have plumbers. We're not going to have. It's going to be. I'm even scared to think about the future when it comes to our trades, and like right now, I think Trinidad's solely relying on the marijuana industry to keep it afloat with the tax. They're not saving any money. They're spending it. I'm scared for the future of our kids here in Trinidad with the growth. I mean, hopefully the art community will come in, and a lot of our younger, especially our Hispanic kids, they're artsy. They need to be encouraged instead of discouraged, and when they're doing their doodles in their magazines, and you know, we need to bring some of the music and some of our art back to our schools too.
Exactly.
It was, like she was saying, it was the coal mining, and then when they closed the coal mines, everybody moved to find employment elsewhere. And then the gas fields came in and did all these gas drilling, like hundreds and thousands of gas drillings. And then that closed.
when was
for
that roughly?
About 20 years ago it started, 15, 20?
About that maybe.
Around 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago. And then they put a hold on all the drillings, so they have skeleton crews right now, and everybody moved. Now the marijuana came in 2 years ago, and that seems to be doing good on the outside, but as far as the local businesses are still not prospering. They're actually losing.
That's not bringing new customers to your restaurant or
No.
something?
There's no smoking allowed in the town, anywhere, in your vehicles, so people will get their marijuana and they drive away. The city gives them no incentive to stay and shop and eat local and support local businesses. And it's actually, 2 restaurants have closed in the last few months due to that fact.
And are people just selling marijuana here, or are they growing it also?
Grow and sale. Oh. There's a lot of growing out in the county, in the far mountainous areas. There's only 3 stores that grow in town and sell.
There's a lot of little shops around. I think what I heard last, around 20.
26 licenses and 43 issued. 26 stores open and 43 licenses issued to open,
To sell?
to sell.
That's a lot for a small town.
Yeah, the customer base isn't here really, I don't think, but
Where are they coming from?
Being right in the middle with 9 shops on our block alone, we have the restaurant and then there's 9 shops on my block. We get probably 80% is Texas, 10% New Mexico, and then the rest is scattered. They come from Virginia, Alaska, Florida, Georgia. We've seen license plates almost from every state. But 80% will be from Texas.
I know the Colorado law says you can only buy for your own use. You're not supposed to buy and take it home to sell. Do you have any sense of whether that's happening?
I have no clue, but
I can
just
tell you,
from
yes.
the
They are not buying for their own personal use.
You
They're
can't-
buying to sell.
You can't smoke here, and you're buying an ounce, and they have Texas plates, so they drive away.
Educational guests, they're taking it home
Yeah.
to do something else with it.
Yeah,
I know there's been people in the community that have tried to open up a smoke lounge.
Mhm.
They've been shot down by the city. It was 2 local women.
My last question, ladies, is do you think there was discrimination based on ethnicity or religion in the past? Is there any racism now? Like in the schools or employment, and have you ever been discriminated against?
Yes. Yes, and yes. There's always been discrimination. Growing up, I know that we were bilingual growing up. I know that they always told us, if you want to go to Mexico, go back to Mexico. I mean, that wasn't our first language. Our first language was English. And my mom was trying to teach us Spanish at the same time so we could be bilingual growing up. And I know in school we were ostracized for it. So you just like sort of didn't speak Spanish out loud. But also in, the electrical field, we're in a predominantly male-dominated field, and we've been discriminated against. Shantell, particularly, they called me at my shop, and they told me, we're not paying for her to be out here. And I'm like, I was shocked. I was taken back. What do you mean I'm not going to pay? You're going to pay for her. So she calls me all upset, and she said, well, what do I do? I said, stay there and work. You have a job to do your job, and come back. Well, the gentleman called me later on, and he says, oh, she knows what she's doing. She's the most wonderful worker in the world, and blah, blah, blah. And I says, well, I'm glad you enjoyed her, but she'll never be back at your project again. And you just lost out on a good electrical company and a good worker. So, I've seen discrimination also in our religion, in that, like when we were younger, we didn't get to serve Mass. It was all males. We didn't, we participated in the Masses. We picked the scriptures. We picked everything. But as young women, we were not allowed to participate or even go on the altar. So,
If you'd been a Latino young man, but Latino, would that have made a difference?
I think it would have. I think the doors are more predominantly open for males, and because we had some Latino male friends that got to serve Masses and got to do some stuff like that.
Discrimination. Think it's around what it used to be? Is it still?
I think it still is. As a woman, you have to work harder, work faster, because they're watching. Everybody, they do. They want to see what you can do. You're going to fail. So you kind of have to prove yourself prove that you're good, rather than just come in with the attitude, I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
And if you had been a white English-speaking restaurant owner, what do you think the difference would have been there?
It would be a big difference.
How do people make that known? How do they express it? I mean, in your case, it was overt, pretty much, or the case the example you gave us. How do
Word
you-
of mouth, locals.
You think people don't come to your restaurant because you have a Hispanic background?
Yeah,
Quite apart from whatever food you serve, whatever quality of the restaurant.
yes.
And that-
Our customers are more tourist than locals. We have very few locals that will come and support us. I mean, we have, all the reviews we get are wonderful, great, good food. It's very, very clean. But
It's a beautiful restaurant.
locals do not support us.
What about the schools? You said earlier that had maybe been an issue. What do you think it's like now? Do you think that Latino children are sort of given equal encouragement to go on and so on?
Yeah.
in schools?
An example, my daughter, Hispanic, long black hair, beautiful, won the Einstein Award for science fair.
Wow, congratulations.
It was amazing. Then, so she went to state and then
State.
nationals. She kept progressing all the way up to the top. The school never announced it once, never in a bulletin, never in a newspaper.
Didn't recognize her, and they said, we asked them if there was funding available so we could take her to
National.
to nationals, to state, we should tell state first, to take her to state, and they said, no, they didn't set aside any money for that. I'm like, well, can't you get it out of one of your other funds? And they're like, no. We're like, fine, we pay for it ourselves. But we thought it was
She
important
was
for her to
never
go to
recognized
state.
for it. But the next year, there was non-Hispanic
Male. Male.
that was highly recognized.
And what school? This was at Trinidad High? And they never mentioned it.
No. They didn't even mention it, congratulations, in the bulletin.
How did that affect her?
It hurts. It hurts them. It hurt them, or her. I have twins. They get over it. I told them the more that you're held back means the more you've got to learn and the farther you got to go. So one went to Baylor and one went to University of Denver. They got really good scholarships because of their own. They went and applied everywhere and did everything on their own, other than depending on the local school advisors, counselors to help them, because there was no help from the local school for them whatsoever. And they were valedictorians.
So what do you think gave them the strength to keep moving forward like that, even though the school wasn't backing them?
Family.
Strong women, helping them be strong.
Exactly.
And don't give up. They've seen me after my car accident and I got paralyzed 15 years ago. You get up and you keep trying. You keep working. You don't stay down.
No, that's knowing that, I didn't know that, but knowing that now, there could be a need there and work to be done where we need to know when these things are happening, within the framework of the Hispanic Chamber, and maybe we could together facilitate a group that would be able to raise money for those kinds of things, because those kinds of things are worth spending your money on. And I don't see where our membership on with this Chamber of Commerce would even hesitate to continue to work toward that end. As long as we know. I didn't know. I didn't know that this had happened.
It was the same with Dominique and cheerleading. They got to nationals in Dallas, Texas. And she made it that high up in her group. No funding for them.
See, and those are things that we can help with. I don't see why we couldn't help with, because they fit in within the scope of the mission statement that says, we'll help with education. That is education. Mesa
was a big thing in high school that helps you get scholarships and advance and learn, and for Hispanics and everybody.
What is
actually.
Mesa?
Math,
Engineering, Science Achievement.
It's a huge.
And I participated in Mesa when I was in high school, and I got a really good scholarship and was recognized in Denver for that. But they discontinued the program. It was in the junior high.
It was in the middle school, and they don't want to carry it on to the high school. And it
the
was
high school is where they get the money. It's great that they start participating since they're in 6th grade, but
the funding doesn't start for them
starts
to earn points to get
from the
scholarships until
they
high
get
school.
money from the Science Foundation. While they're in high school, they get money for participation in events, participation in class, and outside things.
With that Mesa program, when the girls,
and their grades.
there was 5 kids, all Hispanic, that went to Denver. They actually to the engineering with Mesa with Miss Hadaway. Usually in the state of Colorado, and there's Hewlett Packard, Martin Marietta, all these huge corporations. For the whole state of Colorado, they give 5 scholarships, big awards. All 5 winners were from Trinidad High, and they were all Hispanic.
Amazing.
Trinidad Middle School, I'm sorry, all Hispanic Trinidad Middle School. And they won computers, they won, it was amazing. It was a huge recognition, but
They were
it was
recognized.
never,
They were recognized by Trinidad State Junior College,
Wow.
and they all received $500 scholarships for when they were ready to go once they graduated from
Well,
high
and
school.
that's something that the community should celebrate.
I mean, it was wonderful
It's
because
good for the kids and
when
it's
we
good
went
for the
there,
town.
there was participation from at least 20 different schools,
huge schools.
huge schools, gigantic schools. I mean, and a lot of
Our kids need 'em.
the bigger schools, they have actual classes that gear towards their science project. They have classes that gear towards just winning these events, because it includes a lot of physics and chemistry and
Our kids
the
did it on their own
sciences.
time.
And, Mrs. Hadaway, guided them all the way through and helped them, I guess, have enough courage and enough gumption to keep going. So they all did their projects on their own and they won. They competed and won.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It was great.
And it builds their self-esteem.
These in Fort Collins or
And
older?
and the children, you should have seen their faces. They gave them computers, and they just gave them stuff so they could continue their education. Because a lot of the Hispanic kids, their parents can't afford to get them a computer. They're worried about food and bills and stuff like that. So it was a really great accomplishment for them, and just their pride they had. It's great.
I know that Trinidad, way early on, was founded in large part by Latinos who were coming from northern New Mexico. So are some of those older families still around? Or, if the town is sort of more or less half Latino now, are many of them newer arrivals, or how does that work?
Older families, I don't believe.
I think almost
Extended families.
most of them have left or are relocated somewhere else. I don't think there's that many generations left here locally anymore. They've left for better opportunities.
And when these kids received these wonderful awards, did that turn up in the newspapers or the radio? Was there publicity about it outside the schools?
I don't
I
think
think
the school recognized it.
I think when TSGC recognized them, I think that was they were just ecstatic with that. So
And that was it.
I think that was all that recognized him was in college.
And I just have one last question. Sorry, it's so interesting to talk to you. But I'm thinking about the schools, because we're running workshops together for teachers in this area to try to encourage them to include more material about Latino history and culture in their classrooms. So what do you think the schools could do to help change the situation you've described, where Latino kids are not getting as much encouragement as they might, they're not getting as much recognition? What would you like to see change within the schools?
I think like at the beginning of school, I think the teachers need to be able to use the skills that they have. Because I know like when the twins were in high school, they had them since they were overachievers. They helped them help other children come up. And what they did was they started doing a lot of group work. And I thought that was great for them. I think that the teachers could identify students that need extra help, and we're always willing to help out in that area. I know that we go back to the high school. I don't think they had it last year that I know of, but we go do the STEM program, and that's with engineering and mathematics and science, technology, and we try to encourage them, that there's more out there. They don't have to go to college. They could get in a trade like ours, and they can make money. They don't have to get in debt to try to make money. They could start off in our trades, and just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't do it. Because look at us, just because you're Hispanic doesn't mean you can't do it. Look at us. You have to have the gumption. You need somebody to push you. That they don't have to be a homemaker and stuff like that. They could go out and get either a formal education or get one, as they learn as an apprentice.
Any thoughts?
No, I'm pretty satisfied with the entire interview. Thank you. It was great. I've known Shantell for a very long time, and Samantha and your mother, and they're very involved in the community. They care. Shantell was involved for a good time with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and could readily be depended on, for anything. I'd call her and I'd tell her, Shantell, we have to do this, whatever. We'd get it done, and of course, Samantha running her business as she has with all the difficulties, you with all the difficulties in your restaurant, getting it going, if it wasn't one thing after another, but she survived and struggled, and she opened it up. It's a beautiful restaurant. They do quality work. You know, I wouldn't have anybody else. They come and have done some work for us. So, good friends, good people, good community citizens, and role models for our young Hispanic women and other Hispanics if they choose to do better and be better. Thank you both for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, well, that was